Hi, guys. Welcome to She Speaks Bravo. I'm Emily, and today I am recapping Southern Charm with a very special guest, back by popular demand. Before I get into that, though, if you are new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. Please think about subscribing. I do new recap episodes every week. I'm currently covering Atlanta, Beverly Hills, and Southern Charm. And if you are already subscribed, thank you so much. I truly love you and appreciate it the most. All right, guys, I'll see you after the intro. My name is Emily, and I have been watching Bravo TV as a form of self-care for over a decade. Needless to say, I'm a complete mess. Subscribe and follow along for painfully insightful recaps about Bravo, true crime, and other great TV. Hit that bell. Well, guys, guess what?
Ooh.
Guess what? You guys have been asking, and I did it. I got Paige to do a Southern Charm recap with me.
Hello, it's me, baby.
People have been asking, girl. They've been like, when are you going to have Paige on? I'm like, am I not enough?
Oh, you're enough, honey. But us together.
I know, it's true.
Something.
Okay, so guys, a lot's happened in the last few days. Okay, a lot's happened. I have recently been blessed and cursed, I would say a little bit in a way, with a very, very good source close to Southern Charm. Very reliable. I now know literally everything that I could ever want to know about Southern Charm. The problem is I will never blow up my spot. So what good is this information?
What? You can't just... Oh, wait, hold on. So you... Like, what a cold open right now. I know everything.
I know so much about every bit of dynamics of the cast, of setting. I know it all. I know it all.
Okay.
But I am a vault, because if I blow my cover and if I blow up the knowledge I have, I'll never get any more information. So,
okay. That I get that, but are you allowed to be like, okay, can I ask you, does it change your opinion on, like, so this information that you've gotten, does it change your opinions of like past episodes?
Yeah, a little bit. Yes, a little bit. Only not completely in an overall sense, but yes, it does. It does.
Would we be surprised? Or like, do you think that it would be like shocking? Like,
I don't think surprise is the word. I think you in particular have already kind of like picked up on a few things.
Ooh, okay. That makes me okay. I'm on track then.
You're on track. You've already picked up on a few things. It's a very nuanced situation right now with Southern Charm. This episode in particular is a very tough episode. All the layers of it, etc. It's going to be tough to recap, knowing what I know. Because if you tuned in last week, I was very, very firm in my opinion that it was just a rough, horrible birthday party, in terms of Venita just feeling completely isolated and alienated. And I'm like, is anyone going to acknowledge this black woman is struggling?
Last week's episode for me was like, it was really hard to watch. And I was like, and of course they did that damn like to be continued shit on me. So when we started this episode, I was like, okay. And I was shooketh.
What's interesting about so when the world shifted and it became finally like, I hate to say it, but like trendy to have diversity, because let's face it, it wasn't for a while. For a while, it was like, oh, stop complaining.
Yeah.
And then finally it was like, no, guys, it's time to make changes. And Bravo had to start figuring out how to adapt.
Yeah.
You know, then these shows that have already been on for a while, not every show can adapt. Not every pre-existing show can adapt because organically.
Yeah.
Like we saw that with
Roni.
Yeah.
Roni. God, I just had to stop watching. I didn't even finish that season. It was so rough.
And a lot of people had the point of like, well, it was because Ebony was the wrong choice. And I even had Black friends of mine say that. Like I went on.
I think I told you that.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I was the problem. But I didn't love Ebony. Because it just felt like every single episode, I was just like, it was like a Black history lesson for me. And I say that in the most respectful way. But then as watching her castmates interact with her too, I just ultimately was like, she was put in the most impossible situation. And I feel like I actually like her more on social media than I did on Roni. And so it was social media that made me realize that she was just put in a position where she was like, if you're the only Black cast member, she does this for a living too. And you have these women who are just saying the most wild things to you. You're not going to just sit there and be like, let's just drink. Like she's going to fucking correct them. But they're so bad that she's having to constantly correct, educate, and inform them every episode. So what we actually tuned in for is we just want to watch. Diversity for us isn't necessarily wanting to watch Black women teach white women about Blackness. You're my friend, you're white, Emily, I'm a Black woman, and we do not sit and talk about race all the time. I just want, there are two people of different ethnicities, race can be friends, and it doesn't have to evolve around a conversation. But because Ebony, it wasn't organic.
Yep.
They aren't really friends. They had nothing to talk about. They don't have anything in common. And then they would, then they would say things that they would normally say to their white friends. And Ebony was like, hold up. No. And then it turned into what it turned into. And I'm like, this is a hot mess.
Yeah. So last season was such a big season for Southern Charm. And the whole season, Leva's the only one wanting to talk about it. You have Shep, Craig, and Austen actively avoiding it.
Yes.
Actively. They're like, I don't want to. And then but then Craig finally being like, oh, wait, hold on. I thought it was just the one emoji. I didn't realize she followed up with other racially insensitive things. And he kind of tried to come correct, but it was later into filming. But
yeah,
not every cast is going to be capable of organically having these conversations.
Yeah.
So it's sort of, and not every, let me put it also this way. Not every, I don't want to call it a diversity hire, but not every Black person that comes on a cast of all white people is going to feel comfortable and be able to integrate comfortably enough to not just kind of throw a wrench in organic conversations. Does that make sense?
No, it definitely makes sense. And I think in the case of Venita, and we've voice memoed about this, it's not that I feel like she's uncomfortable around it. Neither Ebony as well. I think that they've both been around predominantly white people their entire lives. But it's so much different when you're thrown in the crux of a television show. This is your first season. And we are in a very new world right now, our climate, where people are being much more open about talking to stuff. And you're almost expected to be that voice for the Black community. And it's specifically, Ebony does that for a living, but I think specifically Venita, she's just used to compartmentalizing. I know I did that a lot growing up in a predominantly white environment. And you don't always correct people. And I feel like she's now I feel like she might feel like she's supposed to. and it's not like, and I just feel like I feel her like teeter-tottering back and forth, like from wanting to ignore things and also feeling like she needs to say things. And I feel like that's what I'm seeing right now. But I'm not getting an opportunity to see Venita because of all of it.
Or like in the first episode, when she talks about how she was like the kind of, awkward nerd in high school, I'm like, this is sort of where I don't connect with Venita, because like the people that sort of blossomed late in life, they kind of have that teenage quality to them that I have a hard time connecting with.
Yeah.
And so she still has that energy to me. So she's still kind of like trying to find her footing, and in general as a person, add the fact that she's literally the only Black person on this cast across from Catherine, who, I hate to say this, it sounds mean, but they said it last season too. Catherine just doesn't really have enough like depth sometimes. And it was also said about Jackson Brittany. Remember when their pastor had said, and Stassi was like, I hate to say this, but it's almost like they just don't even have the ability to go that deep to understand how problematic it was.
Yeah.
And it's like Catherine understood what she did was problematic, but she's like, I thought we handled this. And it's like, you still don't get it. She's like, no, I literally don't get it.
And I hate to say this, but the whole Catherine thing, which I agree with you. I think that she feels like they handled it, and that means you don't ever have to talk about it again. And it's just like, this is such a deep rooted issue that you had. This is not just like, oh, hey, we got in an argument about like where we were going to go to a restaurant. I'll give a specific like housewife example. Like when Teddy was mad that Dorit was like 2 hours late. It's not something like that where we like move past, a hiccup in a friendship. Like this was a really bad thing that happened. And unfortunately, you might have to talk about it a few more times, unfortunately for you. And that might make you uncomfortable, but that's why you have to be careful what you say to people. But I felt like, and correct me if you, or like you tell me how you felt, but like I almost felt like the controversy happened, and she's been trying to prove, Catherine's been trying to prove so much that she's not racist, and all of a sudden now she's in a interracial relationship, and it almost makes for me. And the thing is, I'm in an interracial relationship, so I have no issues with that. But it felt like she was doing a thing where it was like, we'll see, like, I am not a racist person. Like I completely, like I love like Black people. I'm with a Black man. Like that, I was more of a misunderstanding, and that's not who I am. And it's something about that. It feels performative. It doesn't feel authentic. And maybe Caleb is the love of her life, and I hope so, or what, but it felt like convenient timing to like shut everybody up that she is not racist. It all felt like very convenient timing. And I don't know.
One of the things I can say, because the source has been close to this cast for so long, they pointed out something that was pretty accurate to Catherine. She doesn't handle criticism well, period. She, was so young when she got with Thomas, and everyone criticized her and acted like Thomas was a good guy. And we know obviously now Thomas is an evil human being. And so she's so juvenile in how she handles any criticism about anything, even unfortunately that topic.
Yeah.
It's like she treated it just like she would treat any other conversation. It's like, okay, can you not do it for just this conversation, Catherine? Can you sit and be quiet and just go, you know what? Wow. And I think I have to go back and watch last season, because I think she did. Like she tried to have a conversation with Leva, but I remember feeling unsatisfied. I remember leaving last season being like, I don't feel like she handled that right. I still feel unsatisfied with how that was handled.
I think it's because she is such a defensive person, and it's like, the thing is, I don't think that Catherine is like an evil human being. I just think she's extremely ignorant and juvenile, like you pointed out. So when she is like met with these like really hard conversations, her default is to be defensive. And then it's defensive for so long that by the time she's broken down to like be open to actually having a vulnerable conversation, it took us so long to get there. So we're already frustrated with her.
That's it. Totally. You're exhausted. And then you're like, oh, now I'm going to need you to go 10 times harder than you were originally going to have to go.
And it's like, it took us, we had like an hour conversation, and like 50 minutes of it was you just being defensive. And then the 10 minutes was you actually starting to say things that would have been awesome at the top of this conversation.
100%.
So it's not balanced.
100%. That's what it was. Like, yes, in there were pockets of her saying what would have satisfied us, but we had to fight to get there.
Yeah.
That I'm like still traumatized from that 50 minutes. And I'm like, I guess you did, but I'm still pissed about the other 50 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's accurate. Okay. So now that we know, all of that, let's get into the episode.
Yeah. God. Okay. It's just so funny. I mean, I guess you're like kind of a cast member now in a sense, because, you know, like whenever they have to do their confessionals, they know everything that happened. So they're like having to pretend.
Yeah.
Like it's all happening like in real time. So it's like weird.
I love that you pointed that out, because I think about that all the time.
So I don't envy you, but let's figure it out.
Let's see how I do. Yeah. I might have to edit this heavily because I might slip up.
Oh God. Ooh.
I'm gonna have you sign an NDA.
Oh, excuse me. I need my lawyer. Craig, where are you at?
Craig. Okay, so we're at the lunch or the tea party, I guess. And they've just started to fight, and Leva's like mediated, and she's like, oh my God, I feel so bad I started this. And she's like, hold on, issues. I know, exactly. I'm like, she's like, issues are getting muddled because like you don't know each other's personalities. And she's basically saying like, I know Venita, and I know that when she was like, you know, okay, fine, you first, then you.
Yeah.
She wasn't as aggressive as she meant to be.
Yeah. I think that I actually was really happy that Leva said that, because I can understand why the ladies, Olivia and Catherine, are like, excuse me. But I can be like that too, where it's more playful. She's just like, okay, like she was excited to have the conversation. She's like, and she is OCD. So like, she's like, okay, we got to make it organized though. No one's going to be talking over each other. Like that was her energy. That's what she meant to say.
I kind of understood it too.
She's like, okay, because you see these like, whenever any of these shows, when the ladies want to get into the conversation, it's all this over talking. And she was like, okay, we're going to do this and we're going to get it all out. You're going to go first, then you're going to go first, and then I'm going to go. And then everyone's going to be able to talk, and kumbaya is going to happen. And they're all like, you're not going to tell me what to say. Like, who you coming at?
And it is worth noting that Olivia thought that her and Venita were cool. Last she knew, Venita came up to her and was like, hey, sorry about that. Like that, I didn't mean to like gang up on you.
Yeah, I was a little thrown off by that too. Because I did think that they already had their little conversation. I thought it was a really nice conversation.
I was like, remember, I was said on the pod, I was like, dude, Venita's cool, guys. If you can go up and apologize to someone, and come correct, you're cool. So, but Olivia thought that it was Naomi that she had an issue with, and they like, and resolved it.
And I can understand Olivia being like a little taken aback by that, because like what you just said, they had a conversation, so she probably wouldn't think Venita was like really upset with her or whatever. But I also like what Olivia doesn't know is that she's like she's really upset with Madison for like what she like she feels like is shadily inviting two people without telling her. So I think Madison kind of reignited maybe in Venita's head. Like Catherine and Olivia came together. So it was just like, I think her energy was mostly for Catherine, but Olivia just kind of got swept in there too.
And she probably like assumed that the two of them had the same concept against her, like the same, concept, but the same like energy.
Like they had an alliance or something like that. And she's already feeling like Catherine was like brought in shadily. So like, and they walk in like you know how it is. She's already like overthinking, like, what is this?
And it's also kind of, I'm realizing clear that like Catherine isn't aware of what the problem is with Venita. Like Catherine doesn't quite know
I think
exactly what the problem Venita has with her is. Even though she should.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm so tired of Catherine being oblivious. Like that wasn't a big, it makes me like irritated. Like I get that she thinks that they had some form of a resolution, but it's like, it's such a huge topic and a huge thing that happened that it's like, you don't think that maybe it has anything to do with that. It's just not a topic that necessarily goes away. It's like when you cheat on someone, like you could have like forgiven, but if that person didn't truly heal from it, cracks and like things happen, more conversations happen.
It's what I said last week. Like when Venita, albeit was very awkward when she was like, "Oh, are you teaching your kids that?" And it's like, wait, what? Where the hell? That was a very weird segue. It would have been cool, but Catherine's not capable of that. Catherine's defensive.
Yeah.
But it would have been cool if Catherine was like, "Oh shit, do we need to have a conversation?"
Yeah.
I would have loved that, but that Catherine doesn't have, that's not Catherine. She's a reactive, defensive person.
Oh, absolutely.
So she just clocked that. And instead of like self-reflecting and being like, you know what, maybe the one Black person in this group is concerned that I haven't grown or learned.
Yeah. And then I almost felt like was Catherine's way of being like, oh, well, now she's talking about my children.
Oh, yes.
So it was like, oh, I have ammunition I'm storing. So like when she starts trying to bring up anything like problematic that I've said, I can be like, oh, but you have no issues talking about someone's children. Like, I feel like that was what she wanted, like, just so she had like another thing in her arsenal. Cause like people do get defensive, like don't talk about kids and parenting. So I'm like, okay, Catherine, I see you.
So Catherine kind of like gets upset and Venita's like, Catherine, I know everyone else attacks you at the table, but I'm not here to do that. And Catherine's like, well, that's funny. Speaking of, earlier you brought up the kid comment and that was very fucking insulting. And then this was funny. She goes, F word, oops.
I know, that was funny.
I don't give a shit. And then Patricia goes, no shit words either. Fair. Like that was a good little moment. But like Lev is like coaching Catherine. Like that is how like cool they have become which kind of gives me hope because Leva has clearly had enough conversations with Catherine offline to where she understands like Catherine needs to be babied. Clearly it's like she needs to be like,
she is a grown woman.
She is a grown woman. Exactly.
And as you said, she has children. So figure it out, honey. What are you teaching your kids? Because it scares me. It's a very valid question.
Let's go back to that.
Elaborate.
Venita to Olivia, this was a little jarring. I get it. Because she's like, I want to make sure that we both understand each other. And so the way she's like, come on, you got it. I was like, oh God, okay. Like, okay. Like, don't like for like Olivia is thrown off. She's like, I swear to God, I thought we were cool.
Yeah.
I swear to God. And so at that point, she's even like, okay, thanks. Thank you for the encouragement. Like she's confused by this. And then this conversation. I talked about it a little last week on the pod. And I said, and so this is where, from the information I have been given, I have a little or a lot more perspective on it. I do still stand by the fact that when Olivia saw where this conversation was going, I wished that she could have said, okay, you know what? I see what you want to talk about. I see what you're concerned about because I am friends with Catherine. That's not me. I am not Catherine. I did not do those things. I want to have this conversation. I would just prefer not to have it right now. Let's maybe go get lunch or something like that.
Yeah.
But I get she is first season, new to cameras. She's freaking out. She is very white woman. Who knows what her family history is? So instead, we got Pia. Why don't you explain what happened in this scene? Because I was more interested in as a Black woman, your perspective on it.
I was disgusted.
Yeah.
And it took me, I think I did send you one voice memo and I had to remember we were going to record. So I was like, I can't, I was so, cause like, my heart just started racing because it was like one of those things where like, listen, I too didn't know that Venita had any issue with Olivia because of the reconciliation that they had quite quickly after the argument happened that same night. So I was like, why are we lumping Olivia into it? So I can understand Olivia's confusion, and also not like, if someone is about to talk about race with you and you're not prepared and that's not your like wheelhouse, I saw her panic that she's going to be like, this is going to make me seem like a racist person. She wanted no parts of the conversation. But instead of doing what you said so beautifully and just being like, let's table a conversation, I will have a conversation with you, so she could really gather her thoughts, think about it, and not be in this like really weird, tense environment that has just been created, and have a more thoughtful conversation. She defaulted and did everything that she was afraid she was going to look like doing, and started throwing microaggressions around like freaking crazy, like doing all the things that you're not supposed to do when a Black woman is trying to explain to you her feelings, whether you feel like you did that or not. She's trying to explain. And every time Venita would even begin to say racism, and now she was actually trying to explain the racism part about Catherine. It wasn't even like she was calling Olivia racist. She was trying to explain the Catherine thing, and Olivia didn't want to hear it because I feel like she had the tools to talk about it. But in saying that, she's saying things like, you can't just throw things out like that.
Yep.
You weren't there. I'm explaining what happened, and I will use that word because that's the word that is fitting for what happened. So I just felt like I just saw Venita being completely shut down and told that her feelings are not valid, and that she's almost using like racism as some crux to have like a conversation with her. And like, you're just like, almost like she's just accusing everyone of being racist because they're not Black, is what the energy she was giving. I don't think that's what she meant, but she needs to learn better words when she's put in a situation like that, because you do have a Black cast member on, and that just might be a conversation that comes up because you're in Charleston with a very deep-rooted racist history, and you have a Black castmate, another castmate of color, and a big thing happened last season that you weren't a part of, but welcome to the show. Like, do your homework, do your research before you sign up for things, and know who you're aligning yourself with. Because
like you're not going to cancel culture me out on this.
That really pissed me off. There's just so many micro like phrases that she used that were like literally like, if you found a poster of how to have a conversation with someone about race, she was all of like, how like get green check marks, phrases you can say, and then red check X marks of things that you should not say. She said every damn last one of the red X's. It was impressive of how badly she handled that situation. I do hope that she does get a conversation with Venita, that she can explain maybe of why she reacted that way. And I think Venita's also owed a conversation to at least be able to say exactly how she feels without being told pretty much you're using the race card. So I felt frustrated for Venita because I just felt like, and then I also saw Venita try to back down and just be like, make her comfortable in that situation. Like, no. Like, sorry, like, I do want to have a conversation with you. If these words are like not words you want to hear, like, okay. And Olivia at this point is completely shut down. She like wall up. Venita cannot say anything at this point. She does not want anything about have any conversation. And that also hurt me to see that, because I feel like Venita, as I think I said earlier, I don't think Venita is a person in her friendships that are constantly like correcting little things that her friends do that might be wrong racially, people say things, and I don't think that she's necessarily always correcting that. And then like the moments that she does, and then someone pushes back, I think she's like, well, see, like I wish I didn't even freaking say anything, because now you're shutting down. Now I feel like you don't want to be friends. Like I feel like she's in a pretty awkward predicament at this point.
Yeah, and she says something like, there are things that you and I don't match on. And Olivia interrupts, and Venita's like, please, can I talk without being interrupted? And Olivia says, no, I think we're done. Because I think you had a different agenda for this conversation.
The agenda, like these are all like, and it's also a power dynamic. It's like,
wow,
this white woman is saying conversation over.
That's really bad.
You're dismissed. Like it's a dismissive thing.
Like, as much as I know she didn't expect that conversation to happen and was like scared of what she would look like. Well, then stop, pause, and say, okay, whoa, I did not see this coming. I thought we were cool. But the word racist scared her so much that she then did all the things that.
Exactly.
So it's like, why did that scare you so much?
Because she like, I mean, I get it. Once you're on a TV show and it's hard to shake labels, and and she doesn't want, and this is her first season. And I think that in her head,
she looked nervous. Her mouth was quivering.
I think she regrets from day one coming out of that bathroom into the conversation with Naomi. I think she's like, I should have just kept walking back to the backyard.
Yep.
I feel like she's just like in quicksand, and she doesn't know how to get out. And she's doing all the wrong things. She's panicking, she's flailing, and making the sand engulf her even more. And and
Venita says we have to have a real conversation at some point, and Olivia's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
and mind you, next week she's not going to be invited to Olivia's party.
Venita?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really not a good move.
That's not a yeah.
Okay, well, okay,
right.
I think that like
the optics on that are really fucked up.
I feel like she doesn't even understand that Venita's giving her an olive branch of saying we can have another conversation at a later time.
Yeah.
She's like, sometimes people don't get like that means I'm giving you another opportunity to like think, like have a really thoughtful conversation. So like you can change the narrative right now. Like, like I get you feeling if you're feeling ambushed, but we could have another conversation where we can sit down one-on-one and talk about it. But she just doesn't. I feel like she's feeling set up at this point. Olivia
does feel set up for sure. All right, let's keep it moving. Now they go back, and poor Venita is just, oh God, I just felt so bad for her.
It just kept getting worse and worse.
Oh my God. They bring they bring the sparklers on the cake, and Venita's sparkler goes out.
That had to be freaking, someone did that on purpose. Cause I don't think so, but I'm just saying, cause I was like, the timing could not have been worse. And she looks so defeated and sad.
Like, and it's like already looks like the different person at the table.
Yeah. And then it's like, it's her trying to relight the thing, and it won't light. And just looking, I just felt like I saw her, Venita, as like a 8-year-old little girl sitting there, desperately wanting to fit in, and everything. And she was so excited and looking forward to this, and everything just going vastly wrong, like being ignored for most of the party essentially turning into Madison's engagement party, and Madison kind of giving her the like frenemy vibes all day.
Yep.
And I'm like, Venita, like, as much as she was annoyed with Madison for like not telling her about Catherine and Olivia coming, and like kind of like making it into her like Madison's engagement party kind of, and all day, I feel like she still like looks at Madison, and she's like, I feel like she like looks up to her, and she wants to be like her. And it was just really sad to see them side by side, with Madison glowing, engagement ring, looking like stunning, freaking
not a care in the world,
not a care in the world, a sparkler, like just lighting up her face. And Venita's sitting here like womp womp. She's beautiful, but like it's just like you can feel the day on her. Like her energy is just different. The damn candle's not sparkling. And I was like, everybody wrap it up. We gotta go. Like I would have just fucking blew out Madison's candle. like honestly, Madison should have just pushed the damn cupcake in the middle and they could have blown it out together. I agree. Cute moment. But you know how Madison is. A little shady bitch. I love her though, but she's shady.
Oh, that was rough. All right. So that was that very rough scene to get through. All right,
that was a birthday party from hell.
That was horrible. Don't do joint birthdays. Why?
As soon as Venita and Madison were talking about that joint birthday party, I literally, I don't know if I voiced my, I was like, I don't do joint birthday parties ever. It's never balanced. Someone always feels like, no, people forget it's their birthday. Like it's just, everybody have their own thing. Have your own thing. Joint birthday parties, guys, don't do it. It's
the only one that came off successfully until the end was the Stassi and Ariana joint birthday party. Remember, they did the winner in summer, but then Stassi got mad at Bo at the end of the night. Remember?
And so that had nothing to do with the party. So it was a successful party. That worked because, and I said this, why I think Venita's and Madison doesn't work. I don't think that they have enough common friends to make, because most of those people, like, is it Venita? They didn't even know it was Venita's birthday. So like, I would say like, felt like more than half of the table didn't even realize it was Venita's birthday. So it's like, is this your party? They're like, I guess, I feel like I got so many comments like, oh, it's your birthday too. It's your birthday too. Like no, I feel like no one got an invitation that said Madison and Venita's birthday party. Like, I feel like I don't know if that's true though. Everybody there was like, even like later, they're like, I think Olivia said, I guess it was like a joint birthday thing. Like, I feel like
really.
Yeah, I feel like they almost felt like I almost feel like no one
Leva and Naomi knew.
Well, I know. I'm not talking about Leva and Naomi because I feel like Venita is really good friends with Leva and Naomi, and they were the only people being normal, like about the joint birthday party. I feel like everybody else, like Shep's cousin, I feel like everybody else was like,
or Marcy.
Like, I just feel like everybody thought that for the most part, they were just. I don't even know if they knew they were going to Madison's birthday. I feel like they were just like, we're going to a party. It's a garden theme. And it's a garden
party.
Yeah. And then they may have even thought it was an engagement party because Madison just did drop that she was engaged, because that was the first thing people were saying. Like, they didn't even say like happy birthday. They're like, you're engaged. And it just like, I just felt like the party was not clear.
It was not clear.
Stassi and Ariana's was very clear.
Very clear.
And they have so many mutual, like real genuine friends that they actually hang out with. So that's what made that successful.
Yeah, you're right. That's very true. They have they're all their friends were the same.
Yeah, like that. They were like very much the same friends. Like, so it felt like an authentic party that they were like letting loose. This did not feel like an authentic. This felt like a production birthday party if I've ever fucking seen one. Mm-hmm. Beautiful though. I was like, this is gorgeous.
Stunning. Well done. Gorgeous.
I was like, if I don't have a place setting with an embroidered name on it, then I don't want it.
I'm like, I would love this as well.
It's beautiful.
So bravo there. Okay, Craig and Paige on their little golf cart. Paige has said her favorite thing about Charleston is that they can take golf carts everywhere. So that's cute. Yeah, this was funny. Paige says to Craig, you said you wanted to spend 1 million Christmases with me. And Craig says, I say really cute shit to you when I'm drunk.
And I bet you she thought that was so cute.
And I'm like, that's not great.
Yeah, because it's like you can only say nice shit when you're drinking.
That's so toxic. That's so fucking
She just
toxic.
like didn't even hear that. She just like cut it off before he said like when I'm drunk. He just like, and I will say really cute shit. That's all she heard.
Remember when they were on Watch What Happens Live? I think I told you this. And when they played the game and it was like, what's the most annoying thing about Craig? The drunk stories. So they're at this, they get to this little bar and Craig is like, yeah, so like Naomi and I we go get lunch or drinks. He's like, we've been broken up for 5 years. You just had sex.
Twice.
And then he says his weird rationale. He's like, we're not going to go get our nails done and be gal pals.
That would be better.
That's not the concern. Like that would be better. Paige kept her cool.
She did, because I would have been like, it's like, I don't know how many ways Paige could tell him no in that conversation, that you will not be spending one-on-one time. And I honestly agree. You guys just had sex. This is a very new relationship. I don't live in Charleston.
Exactly.
That's not, I don't know her very well. I don't know what her intentions are. She seems nice, but like, I don't trust her. I don't know her. She could be like, this be a fun storyline to try to break them up. Like, she doesn't know what's going on in Naomi's mind. And why would that? No, like if it's a group, and she was kind enough to say, if it's a group thing, that's totally fine. That makes sense. One-on-one is not happening.
I would have just been mad at the audacity.
I know. She kept it together.
He kept staying, like, it almost seemed like he was kidding. Like, you're testing me.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like he was doing it on purpose. Like, he's like, no, what? Like a little.
Well, honestly, it's good that Paige did put her foot down, because who knows if Paige was like being too like, oh, do what you want. Who knows where the relationship would be now? Because like, I mean, at that point, Craig, I'm sure still has some residual feelings for Naomi. So like if he started spending one-on-one time with people, they were together for a very long time. I would not be shocked if they rekindled.
I get the feeling that the residual feelings are anger. He seems like he's like, when she had her, like, I don't know, what do you even call that?
The housewarming thing.
Welcome back her new beginnings or whatever party. And he was chewing ice and she's like, you really shouldn't chew ice. And he's like, oh, fuck, I forgot about this shit that you do. I could see he's like, that's right. She was just such a nag.
I never got, because I don't know if everyone knows, but I got into Southern Charm later. So like the first season I ever watched. Yeah, the first season I've seen clips though, like infamous flashback of like, what's wrong with my sewing? Like stuff like that. So I've seen like little clips of their toxic parts or traits or whatever. But yeah, I didn't start watching it until Naomi's last season, and they had already broken up and she was with Matul. And Craig just seems so like,
yeah. It's not exactly. It's like Craig was not a gem either, but
yeah.
So then this awkward date, Austen meets Olivia for drinks, and Olivia's like, ooh, I like sneakers and a hat. That's my weakness. And, honestly, I don't fucking blame her. I have terrible taste too. So it's like, Austen's like, sweet, that's easy.
Yeah.
And they go over a little bit about the joint birthday, and she doesn't even have to say much. She really doesn't. All she has to say is, yeah, also is a little bit about how Madison just got engaged. And Austen goes off. Austen's like, of course she made it about her. Like, oh, surprise. It's like about me now. Oh, I got engaged.
But it's so funny because like it was funny because I was like, Austen's saying all the things that I was saying. I was like, she was making it about her, wasn't she, Austen? Like, he wasn't even there, and she was kind of doing that. But
no, he knew. He's like, of course she would. But then he's like, she got me convinced that nobody liked me, that I wasn't funny, that I wasn't good looking. I thought I was an asshole. Like that. It's just funny that now he's like, I am funny. I am good looking.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like, I was a battered man.
I was a battered wife.
Like it was funny because that man unleashed on Olivia. He was like, all his trauma from that Madison, he was like, he just needed to hear the word Madison, and he just was like, and you know what, it is fine, I'm moving on. And like then it would it would take a lull, and he's like, and another thing. I know, he's like, he needs to really talk it out with a therapist.
She's like, okay. He's like, it's just that, I was so vulnerable. So it's like emotional whiplash, so I'm going to need to take things. And she like fills and she's like, slow. She's very smart here in her confessional. She's like, it's kind of presumptuous to be talking about this already. Like, we just got here. Why are we already slowing things down?
Yeah.
Like, he's overcomplicating the part that should be simple and fun and carefree. And that's a very good point. That is so like, that's the problem with with guys that do this like immediate non-committal thing.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, just real quick, I want to slow things down. It's like, we're on our first real date.
Well, he's just trying to mockingbird Craig. What he did with Paige. I'm feeling like Craig coached him, like, just like let her know, like, if you want to. He was just saying like little sound bites that Craig said to him.
That's funny.
But he's not Craig. Craig knows how to play that game, and Austen's a goober. And he's like, Craig would never emotionally vomit all over a girl and then say like, yeah, let's just take it slow. He would have, not done that. And I bet you Craig would be like, that's not how I taught you how to say that to her. Like,
yeah, you're right. Cause Craig, I found that clip of when Craig was talking to that like business coach or whatever. And he talked about how he lies so easily and that he's like, I just know how to like, profile people and I can, use it to my advantage. So he knew how to, there's that scene with Paige and Craig when they first get together and he's like, you're thinking about me. And he's just playing it perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That is not what Austen is doing.
Oh, absolutely not.
Austen is not doing that.
He flunked the test.
He flunked it so bad.
So poorly.
He's like, I just want to take things slow.
Yeah, he was trying to remember what Craig told him to say. And he was like, I think I'm supposed to say, like, if you want to, like, he said something like almost verbatim, like he said on the golf course that Craig said to him. He was like, so like, I know I'm moving at a snail's pace. So like, I don't expect you to like, not date other people because I don't want to hold you down, like hold you back from like, he literally, I think like, and I think he thinks he did good. Like,
oh, he did. He's like, I let her know. I can't wait to hear him. Like, I guess he does recount what he says. I just don't remember. I don't even remember what he says happened. I'm sure he was like, it went okay.
Yeah.
It went all right.
I don't know. I feel like Olivia, now that I'm thinking about it, is just like, what is going on? And what did I sign up for? Like, I'm just like being thrown into everyone's past trauma that I was not a part of. And it's just like this girl, like she just keeps walking into rooms at the wrong time and desperately sitting there and being like, I wish I hadn't walked into this goddamn room.
She's like, note to self, don't bring up Madison.
Yeah. Like, she's like, she is like, I needed to take a crash. She definitely didn't watch the show.
I did not watch the show. I should have watched last season.
Yeah. She's like, I should have watched the show. Big regret.
Yeah. She's like, I kind of thought I knew, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Marcy, I felt bad for Marcy for a while because she just like, I guarantee she didn't expect to get pregnant. And I swear she signed that contract before she got pregnant because she was not expecting to be pregnant on TV because she looks uncomfortable. She always looks like she wants to drink so bad. But she was
just like Shep before this happened. So like, she's probably having FOMO like a mother.
Yeah. So she's like setting up the crib, but she's like, she's just not coming. It's not coming natural to her. And her mom calls. I love this bitch's honesty. She's like, I tell my mom I'm pregnant. She's like, what? So we had to rush to get married. And then after that happened, she's like, I'm having a grandchild. And she's like, it's just such double standards in the South. Like Shep can be totally fine, not married, running around. But because I was doing it, there was something wrong with me. And now that I'm married and having a baby, they respect me. She's like, literally nothing different about me.
Yeah.
There's nothing different. I'm just married and have a kid.
Yeah.
So I'm here for this woman.
Yeah. I wasn't sure about her, but
me too.
I think that scene also won me over because she didn't have to tell us her timeline. I don't think I would have done the math. It's not wouldn't because like
it wouldn't have been a Phaedra Park situation.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that it wouldn't have been a Phaedra Park situation for me. I really don't think I would have done the math on that to know that they had like a shotgun wedding. So she literally was like forced to do it. Otherwise, her mom would have like disowned the child. Yeah, like I really loved all that. I loved all that.
She was
that makes for good. That makes for a good cast member.
Totally,
you're not afraid to say the shit that also. Not that would be a bad thing, but like maybe for her family, like embarrassing. Clearly,
yeah.
To go there, I love that.
Loved it. I think really,
and it actually does show how she is related to Shep because I think that's why Shep was such like a big fan favorite because he also like this really, they're in this like, it's almost like, I don't even know. I can't even imagine what it was like growing up in that family. They're so prestigious and like, they were talking about that little club that you can't even talk about. I'm like,
I think about that all the time. What is
it? Like rituals and like
I swear,
sacrifices?
I think of PIA. I think about it all the time.
I'm like, what do they do? I feel like they wear robes and like mass and they like make sacrifices and they chant. That's what and then that's why they have abundance of wealth and like the actual literal devil comes out and they say another contract for another 100 years of like, and then you and your family will be billionaires. It's like Knives Out. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Oh, highly recommend. Amazing. I watched it. It's so good, but it's like that. No, not Knives Out. Ready or Not.
Ready or Not.
Ready or Not. Knives Out is really good too, though. But Ready or Not, it's like family money, signing a deal with the devil. There's a curse. That's why they have to like do that weird game. It's so good.
It's a horror movie. That's why.
Yeah, but it's like it's dark comedy. So it's like it's you'll crack up at a lot of parts.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not like scary.
That's what I envisioned too. As soon as he said it was a club, that like when Shep was like, can't talk about it, I thought, fuck, you guys are literally sacrificing virgins.
Oh my God, it is so like Ready or Not. Oh my God, it's exactly like that.
Remember, did you watch True Detective for season 1?
I didn't.
Matthew McConaughey.
No, I didn't finish it. Girl. I don't know why I didn't finish it, but I didn't.
Girl,
I know it was so good. I heard.
Oh, they did. They uncover some. It's got like that kind of vibe. Where it's like dark. That's when my head went right there.
I go back and watch that. Like I always meant to, and I just like.
Yeah,
never did. Yeah. I know the second season sucked.
I remember the finale went on, like the very last episode. I was like, okay, like we're going on. It's a little 20 minutes too long. You could have capped it right there. But other than that, fantastic. Okay. So, Leva goes to Venita's house. This was very eye-opening because Venita is so OCD.
Yeah.
That is telling. She also, when she said that if the onion salt is in the wrong place, she has to put it back in the right place and then like almost like start over cooking. Like this is I had a friend who had severe OCD. One of his OCD tics was whenever he got out of the car, he had to listen to exactly 5 seconds of Mariah Carey's Always Be My Baby.
So specific.
And if he listened to 6 seconds, he had to start over again.
Damn. Couldn't he just make a tape that was just only 5 seconds so you didn't have to do that?
That's not how OCD works.
God. I just feel like it would be so much more efficient. Like I respect that it needs to be 5 seconds exactly, but then we could just be more efficient by like.
What's funny is that I didn't know this for like the first year of our friendship. And when he told me that, I was like, oh my God, is that why Always Be My Baby is stuck in my head constantly? Because I would hear it like as I was getting out of the car, but I wouldn't realize it.
And were you ever around when it went on a second too long and he didn't?
Well, so what would happen is I would get out of the car and like I would hear it. But then I'd get out of the car and then I'd be out of the car. And sometimes he would stay in the car a little longer, but I wouldn't notice like why.
Why? Okay.
And so when he finally told me I then was aware of what was going on.
That must be terrible. Like living with OCD. Cause like, I feel like my mom has it. And I think sometimes I feel like I like she's just like I think she has a version of it. Like this woman washed her cell phone once because she got chicken.
Like washed it.
With soap and water, put it underneath the faucet.
Oh no!
She's like she won't use anybody else's pens.
Okay,
like she has to wear gloves when she goes. Like pretty much the pandemic was built for this woman. She was already
okay. I was going to say so. She was like no problem.
She was already doing that stuff. She already had all those. She had masks. Yes, she's like very like germy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm like that with like random things. Like I can only eat with certain shaped forks. I don't like to drink from or eat off of anybody's stuff when I go to their homes unless I've washed it myself.
Okay.
And I rewatch everything in my house too.
Okay. So you got your own you got your own version of it.
Yeah.
No judgment. But Venita's dog Charles is so freaking cute. I wanted to sit next to little Charles.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got a vibe from Leva that she was. It's like she said something to Venita in this scene. She's like, I know you. Like, I know you, and I want you to open up the way I know you can. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's where Venita's having the hardest time. I don't feel like, I know it is.
Yeah.
Venita is struggling with being open about what she feels. And this whole scene kind of feels repetitive. We know that Venita wants to have a one-on-one. Have it already. Open up. Tell production you want to set up a scene where you have that. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it right now. Tell your producer, I want to have that conversation. That's how it works.
Yeah.
But she's afraid, and like all of that is understandable. But unfortunately, like that's what Leva's trying to say is like, get there. Like, we're so close, just get there. Like,
yeah, she's trying to, because like, yeah, it's like she has the potential to be really good. But if you don't strip down and let people see you, even the things that you don't want people to see, you're not going to make it on the show. Like, no one is going to take, like, she's an influencer. No one is going to want to watch a surface influencer version of yourself. We want to see, like, I thought it was like the moments where she was like taking us through her house, like even with like the whole OCD stuff, like, that's you.
Interesting.
That's cool. Talk, like, do any of your castmates know you pretty much have a form of OCD?
Yeah. Exactly.
And that might be why you come off the way you do sometimes when you're in awkward positions, because you're like, I need to organize everyone.
Ooh, that was deep. That was good, Pia. I need to organize everyone.
Yeah.
Which is what she did. She's like, you first, you second.
Yeah. And I, even though didn't know yet the OCD thing, I almost understood it immediately what she was trying to do. Mm-hmm. I knew her intention. However, I could also understand if some people don't pick up on things like that. So, and Catherine's already a reactive person. She wasn't going to like see it in those terms. It was like, you're coming at me.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, no one tells me what to do.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you when I want. Oh, she's like, what is this, an appointment? Are you a doctor? I was like, okay, that would be what you say.
Yeah.
That's where I understood it, because I like order. So yeah. I was like, okay, that's smart.
And I understood it because
I liked it.
I understood it because I like efficiency.
Yeah.
I was like, that actually sounds great, because then we can just get it all done quickly.
It's like, this is just smart. This is nice and organized. So very you go first.
Yeah, I was like,
so go.
And I felt like she lets her go first. It wasn't like, I'm going to go first. It's like, I felt like she was polite in her organization. Like, you can go first, and then you can go first, and I'll go last, because, I'm polite like that.
Okay. So now the guys are on a road trip, and they're making fun of Shep for being the worst driver, which I could totally see.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my God. Why can I just see Shep being the worst driver? And of course, Shep's like, that is a lie. I'm like, yeah, I can see it. And so Austen has a very big meeting with this, big beer distributor guy. And whatever music they're listening to can't possibly be what's actually playing on screen, because, rights and whatnot. Yeah. There's just like no way.
I forget about that kind of stuff. Like,
yeah, I mean, unless they forked over that money, but like, that's it's expensive to get music rights.
Yeah.
So whatever they were, they like jam into it. And Craig and Austen, though, they admit, Craig says something like, so when were you going to tell me I was about to have a cousin? And meaning that like Taylor might've been pregnant. And this was very interesting. Craig and Austen, they're like, we were kind of bummed that Taylor wasn't pregnant. And Shep says, oh, so you can make fun of me when you go out and party and get girls? Well, Fuck. Okay.
What?
And then Austen's like, no, like we want to have like a wedding and a bachelor party. Okay. Jesus Christ.
First of all, like you having a child and getting married, like, I mean, if you want those things, you don't have to like not have fun with your friends. Like I mean, yes, you have to have responsibilities. It's like to make sure your child is like, but like, look at freaking Pringle. This man's out. Like he has 2 children. Like Madison has a child. Like Catherine has 2 children. I mean, some of these people don't have their children for full time. Madison does though. But
Shep is so competitive too. And by the way, get girls. Craig has a girlfriend. Like it's like Shep is so competitive that like he couldn't handle the thought of them going out and getting girls. Like I can get girls too. It's like, no, Shep, relax. Right? Shep. He does not handle aging well. And he's not gonna be, it's like this. You only have a few more years of this being cute. And you being able to get 20 something. It's like you're going to start having to go.
I don't even know if he does. Like watching him in the scene was sad to me.
It looked real pathetic.
Like you're not 20. You're 40.
It don't look cute. Like you were cute when this show started, but you have aged rapidly.
Yeah. I was like, even like when they were Taylor and him were getting ready for, I think it was the first party. I was like, whoa. It's like, you better be happy this woman is into you were not tight. I mean, it's like, but like he just seems sloppy. He's like, you know what I mean? He just like, she's like putting things on haphazardly. I'm just like, you just seem, it's so crazy because he has the most money out of everybody. And I'm like, you seem like just not put together.
Yeah. Like he's like, I've never really had to care. Cause you know, everyone in Charleston knows I've got money and knows I'm Shep and like, whatever. But whatever. So when they arrive, Austen like gets all ready and literally checks in with Craig about his outfit. So like, cute. I know we hate Austen, but it was adorable.
Do we?
I know. Listen, Pia and I have to live in our truth. We know he was an asshole on Summer House, but like we are entertained by Austen. We said it when we were recapping Summer House.
Yeah, like the thing is, like I can find someone entertaining and think that he does dumb shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like would I want to date Austen? Absolutely not.
No,
but he's doing his job. He is entertaining me on this television set.
Yes. Okay? He shows up to his friend Craig's room and is like tucked in or untucked.
Yeah. He's hilarious.
He looks ridiculous. It's like, that's funny. Okay.
He's hilarious. Would not want to date him. Please cast him. Like that is a person that should be casted on a reality show. The producers did a good job with casting him. Perfect casting.
Yeah. Okay, so Shep calls Taylor, who is doing his dishes at his house, which she has her own house. So already I'm like, Taylor.
I feel like Shep was also like, why are you in my house?
He had an energy of that, right?
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're at my house. Like it's like
you're probably looking through shit.
Oh God, he was just like, he's literally telling her he doesn't want to be with her in every possible way, and it's so sad because she's really holding on to this relationship and trying her best to show him that she's a Susie homemaker.
I do have to say that from the intel I've got, everyone knows that he does love Taylor very much.
Okay.
However, what does that matter when he doesn't want monogamy, marriage?
Yeah. And the thing
what she wants.
Yeah. And that's my whole issue with people who get into these relationships. It's like, Shep can be a bachelor for his whole life. There's nothing wrong with that. But, and this is for both of them. I think this is both of their faults. Don't enter into a relationship wanting vastly different things and then pretending like both of them, I think, are trying to pretend like they're cool. Like I'm cool with waiting because he'll change his mind because, like, you know,
classic.
See. And Shep's like, maybe I'll change my mind, maybe I won't. Shep, you don't. Can I change your mind?
Maybe is never.
Yeah, like, and it's like you're just trying to like hold, like, you know, you're wasting
dangling that carrot.
Yeah, and it's never, the carrot's never coming close.
Nope. So Craig calls Paige and they have a really cute little conversation. Craig is going to meet Paige's parents. And when they hang up, he's like, wow, I almost said, I love you. Bye. The problem is we know their relationship is where it is now. So these sorts of moments were like, okay, but then you do. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But now to the fun one. Shep is still on the phone with Taylor and he's like, yeah, we're going to go bar hopping. And Taylor says, okay, be good. And he's like,
triggered.
Production, can you get out of here? And then he just goes off. He's like, look, once you're at this point in your relationship, it's over.
Yeah.
Once you think you can like control, once you don't trust your partner to go anywhere and you think you can constantly be like, be good or, control or whatever, you're fucked. Yeah. Once that trust is gone, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And Shep and I know Shep seems like a dick. But Shep at this point, it's true. He doesn't want to have to be scolded all the time.
Yeah.
However, she has every reason in the world, clearly, to be concerned.
Yeah, because he would do, and he did do that when he went out.
He is literally doing that every time he goes out of town.
You can't be living your life uneasy.
Yeah.
And he's doing things that are not natural for him, which is why he'll have kiss a girl in the stairwell. Mm-hmm. For him, that was me being good.
Yeah. It was just a kiss. Like, okay, well, that still feels gross for her. And so she's like, but her line, I'm not going to be the girl that's left because of a wandering eye. Well, again, when you get with the guy that's like, it's like when Brittany got with Jax, it's like when you get, and I'm really not comparing Shep and Jax because like they're not, Jax is his own entity of terrible.
God.
But like, Shep is the forever bachelor guy. And when you get with that guy, it's that constant, like, I'm the one who's changed him.
Yeah.
No one changes anyone.
Yeah.
And so Shep needs an open relationship. He needs someone who's open to that. I have said a million times, monogamy, I think for me, it's an antiquated concept. So these people, we do exist. People who think that. I'm not volunteering. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying.
Are you? I think you're volunteering.
It sounds like I'm constantly it constantly sound like I am volunteering for Shep, but I don't even find Shep attractive. I'm not like I'm too old for Shep at this point. He's like, you're how old? I'm like, don't worry about it.
Maybe he needs to go older, or
he does. No, he does need to go older.
Also, you're younger though, but you're saying too old for like his standards
for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So but I'm just saying these people do exist, but he's also so torn with being so traditional too, from such a traditional home. So it's like, he can't let that go. So
I think that he just needs to do. Well, I mean, Goldie Hawn and I think her are in a monogamous relationship, but I don't know if it's like, I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's more of the pressure to get married that makes him like hate monogamy. And I don't think he ever wants to be married. Like maybe he could have been with like Taylor for the rest of his life if he didn't know that there was like a ticking clock of like, well, then I'm going to have to get her pregnant. I'm going to have to get married. If it could just be when we walk through life together and that's it. We're never getting married. That's crystal clear. He might actually be better at monogamy because that pressure is off. The self-sabotaging part of him is turned off because he's like, we're all super clear about like what's happening, like not getting married, not doing it.
Yeah.
But he's fighting himself.
He's
fighting his truth.
Yeah. So Craig is out at the bar at the hotel and Shep comes down and he's, he could tell that Shep is like rattled. Also, probably production told him like, sorry, Shep's on a call with Taylor having a fight. So he'll be right down. Mm-hmm. And so Craig asks about it and Shep's like, well, Taylor's a little anxious whenever I leave town. And then in Craig's confessional, Craig's like, Taylor's anxious when you leave town because you keep cheating on her when you leave town. Like, fuck, man, didn't you complain about them stabbing you behind your back? And like,
you think he was going to let that go? He was waiting for an opportunity. This whole scene was Craig planting seeds to break up Shep and Taylor. Like, I'm like, I could see what he was doing that entire time.
Yeah. Yeah. So Austen comes in, he's like, I sold the beers. Congratulations. They do some lemon drop shots. And Craig says to Shep, do you want to talk about the Taylor thing now or when we get drunk later? Austen's like, okay, Austin's going to drink his drink or do the shot. And he's like, am I going to black out tonight? 8-Ball says highly possible. And I just like, when he said 8-Ball, I was like, wait. Oh, okay. He's talking about like an
yeah.
I thought I was like, oh no, I don't know that. Okay, this next scene, it just felt bizarre. Catherine and her two friends, Amy and Christy.
Oh,
I was like, what show am I watching? We've never had these types of chicks on Southern Charm. These like blonde, like kind of, I don't know, want to be rude.
I felt like they came with the club or something. And
right?
Catherine was just like hiring them to talk to her because she was bored.
It's very weird. And like she orders tequilas with pineapple backs, bourbon and Coke, and a bottle of rosé. And in comes Madison. And Madison was like extra. It almost felt scripted. Everything Madison was saying. She's like, it was like this whole scene to me was not like, it just felt incredibly scripted for them. Like they knew what they wanted to talk about. This was their like, we're out on the town looking for men. But Madison's like, but I love my new guy. My guy, Brett, is I'm all about him. And when Catherine goes, let us know if there are any big spenders. This is so much fun. I want a man who's loyal, someone with kind eye. Like it all was odd. Sorry.
So is she broken up with Caleb? Like, is that real?
Exactly.
Like, that's like so odd to me. Like people not talking. Like you just didn't have a conversation. You haven't had a conversation in like 2 weeks. That's weird.
Well, I think they broke up. She ended it.
I felt like they just like they hadn't talked. So she was like, we're broken up.
Well, no, she ended it at that dinner at her house.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
And he cried.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And then Madison's like, Brett makes me a better person. And he's Mormon. And he said
that was crazy to find out.
Right. And he said the month before they get married, he said, no sex and I'm taking your vibrator. I just, they've only known each other for 6 months. Let's see.
The funny thing
goes.
is, I'm pretty sure that they're not supposed to have sex at all.
Yeah, Mormonism is a whole problematic situation.
Yeah, but like, it's like, I mean, I don't think you're supposed to have sex at all. Like not just a month before. I think they're not supposed to have sex at all until you're married.
Right. But he's just making up rules.
He is. He's like, well, as long as we do it, we're pure. Yeah, he's like, we'll be pure if we just don't do it for like the 30 days before we get married. I'm like, I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to have sex at all. Yeah. And I only kind of know that because there's this documentary, and I think you might have just watched it recently. Oh no, I'm not. About the guy who's Mormon, and he had that girl, and then they broke up, and then she killed him. And and her friends like didn't and they got caught on camera, like one of those like disposable ones. They caught part of the crime.
What documentary?
Well, I think that they have multiple, but I think there's one. They had a 2020 special on it. I'll send you a link. But that one was really interesting. But yeah, like he's Mormon. She started converting, but like none of his friends or family liked her because she's like really wild. And then they broke up, and she was like,
was that Jodi Arias?
Maybe, hold on, look it up. And yeah,
I think that's who it. Yeah, I think that's who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jodi Arias.
But they talked about that because he was like breaking his Mormon rules because like she was wild. So they were like, his friends was saying this, like she was like tempting him. And like, then he would, they were like, they're not supposed to have sex. So that's why I was like, that's where I'm getting my like little bit of Mormon knowledge from, is watching that. I don't think they're allowed to have sex at all.
So there we go. Okay, enough of that scene. Now the guys are at that bowling alley bar thing, and they meet their friend Whitley, and they take this like selfie with all the guys to send to Taylor, which is clearly like the timestamp. Like, here we are, just guys.
Oh, it was 100% timestamp. Like hey, see, I'm not lying. I'm with all these people. See, look at me being good. I'm going to go talk to that girl at the bar now.
Yeah. And Craig says something, because there, I think Shep that's when Shep shows like all the texts coming in.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, not yet. Craig says something like, do what Shep says and just ignore the problem until it goes away. And Shep kind of like tries to be like offended. He's like, what? But Austen and Craig are like, you said that. You said that yourself. He probably said it when he was like drunk and doesn't remember. Of course. Like basically like, yeah, whenever Taylor gets mad, you know, I just like ignore it. And eventually she stops being mad, which is exactly what he's doing now, because he starts reading these like big novel texts that she's sending. And it's sad because she's like, now I'm feeling insecure about the way I've been acting, because she has every reason to be insecure. But of course, he's gaslighting her into thinking that she's being crazy, which is what they like to do. And so he's mocking her for the text she's sending in response to that. And he's like, you know, like, don't be the architect of your own demise.
I hated when he said that. He's such a narcissist. I hated when he said that, because it was like, she has every reason to feel like the way she's feeling. You're literally doing some of the things that she's fearful of you doing currently. And then he has the audacity to be like, if she keeps this up, calling me out on my bullshit, I'm just going to break up with her. Like, do you want, like, it's like, for him, it's like, it's so easy for like, I mean, that's fine. Like, if you want to stay in this, baby, you need to like look the other way. He's like such an old school mentality. Like, you need to be okay with looking the other way, or you're not going to have this lifestyle anymore.
Oh my God, that's totally like what he meant.
For him, it's like, he's like, I can provide you with anything. And all you have to do is look the other way. You can have a really good life. And you can go to the secret club.
I do want to I want to peek inside.
I don't know if I do, because I feel like demon spirits will fly out.
I probably would.
I'm scared. It's going to latch on you.
That's a good point. It does. It feels evil.
It does. Like, I'm scared.
Like 100%. It does not feel right.
It's just like some black magic, some dark shits in there.
So Shep goes up to get a drink at the bar, but like finds a woman to talk to. And Austen and Craig are drunk. And Craig, knowing they're on camera, is like, you know shit and I know shit. Everyone knows shit except Taylor. And Austen's like,
oh, I know. Austen's face was like,
God, dude,
you motherfucker.
Like, now that's not cool.
You said that in front of me, so now I'm a part of it. And of course we know shit. You fucking. Austen's like, God, this is how he does that to Austen a lot. Even like, remember on their little stupid podcast that they have, and they were on tour, and she's hard. Freaking Craig is belligerently drunk and talking shit about Lindsay.
Oh, yeah.
Saying like, oh, they like give bad edits or good edits to Lindsay. It's all manipulated and all this stuff. And like, Austen is just sitting there like, I am already in deep shit with a lot of stuff.
He's like, I can't talk.
He just like lets Craig go. And I'm like, and Craig just like, and she's like,
yeah. It's like, I am done. I'm already getting reamed.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the end of the episode. So we know now that Taylor and Shep are officially broken up. The quote is something like, she wanted monogamy and he basically told her, I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
You know, which is unfortunate, because he had a million opportunities to say that from the jump. Maybe he thought he could be. Maybe he's like, yeah, maybe, because he also want to watch what happens live. And Andy asked, and now it makes sense because Craig was sitting right next to him and had a weird look on his face. Andy was like, I know you are monogamous with Taylor, right? And he's like, oh, yeah, absolutely, totally monogamous. And Craig was like,
yeah. And the thing is, again, I think Shep is fighting the standards that his family has set, where you're supposed to get married, have a kid, and you can have, I don't think that they care about affairs. But
no, not at all.
But Shep just is like, I just don't even have the desire to pretend to want to be with one person.
And I kind of respect that.
I do too. It's just like he just has to, like, I think he needs to really just, this needs to be the wake up call of like, find whatever you need, or a person that's going to understand exactly how you want to do a relationship or what version of that. And I think you'll have a much easier time in life.
Yeah, like Taylor did herself a disservice because she went into it being like, I don't need to talk about that. Like he said, the reason why it works is because she doesn't pressure me. And it's like, at what point do you say, okay, it's not going anywhere, I'm going to leave? Because at some point you're going to catch feelings. And so when do you like jump off the train? Like, you don't want to stop it, you know?
I mean, I should have pulled the ripcord when she had that pregnancy scare and he made it all about him and nothing about her. And almost like, I was like, this is a person that like, yes, he could absolutely take care of you if you get pregnant. That's not the thing, but it's like, he's not emotionally ready to have a kid. He doesn't care about your feelings. It's going to be the whole time you're pregnant. I'm losing this and that. Do you want to be with someone like that at a really stressful time?
The whole pregnancy.
Yeah. He's going to be like quiet.
He's going to be going out.
Yeah. Like when I don't even think he would probably make the birth. He'd be like somewhere at a bar, like, oh, just call me when it's done.
Yeah. Thinking it's like what they do in the South.
Yeah. Like you don't. My father wasn't at any of our births. They just called him when he was done and gave him a cigar. I made that up, but I bet you that is what happened.
Yeah. So, he did lead Taylor on for way too long, and he is shitty for that because he kept doing the like maybe game.
Like, yeah, maybe I'll change.
Maybe.
She was, and the thing is, they did have like their version of a really good relationship when it was good. So she could see those, like they would do like very like, like not normal, but like like playing house, I guess you would say. So she could see glimmers of it and that he had capabilities of it, but it like in the long term of it, no. And it was probably easier for him to do that in the pandemic when he couldn't go anywhere.
Oh my God. But remember she got COVID and like got mad at him because he was a dick about it.
Yeah, again,
I just remembered that.
Shep, like you don't want a partner that if you think like you get sick, you have a baby, a death in the family, and they think about themselves first and how they are affected and barely check on you. Like he literally said, get out of here.
He's like, ugh. I don't care where you go. Go away though.
Yeah.
So yeah. So she's heartbroken now, but thank God it wasn't any more time wasted. Like lessons have been learned. Shep is totally that guy. Like Shep is going to 100% be that guy in someone's life that like, oh man, Shep taught me a lot about what, I don't want.
Yeah. And the thing is, I don't think it was a waste of a relationship. I think she was able to grow. She's still so young. That is now, what you need in your next relationship, what things you're unwilling to compromise. And it's going to be great. It's better now than 10 years from now. Yeah.
Thank God she didn't get pregnant.
Thank God. Thank God.
So next week, though, unfortunately, Olivia is not going to invite Venita to a big party that she throws. And that really bums me out. And I need to see how this shakes out.
She's already feeling like isolated. And it's like, she's just going to crawl further. Venita's going to crawl further down into her hole. And I don't know.
I need to see, like, is there another, I obviously we need to see more of the episode, but I don't know. We need to see what happens. I don't know that it's just the optics on that look fucked up. like Olivia knows Venita wanted to have a conversation about this topic of racism and what happened last season. And that's not why she's, Olivia's not aligning with Catherine because I don't know, like she knows that conversation that she wants that conversation to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know if that conversation happens. And then she still is like, look, this is not going to work. Like, I don't know. I don't mean to,
I'm hoping that like the reason why she's not invited is because they had, like what you're saying, they had a conversation before the party. They're still on the same page. So for her, it's like, then I don't want to have you at my party. That would make sense to me. And then I won't feel like a certain way. But like, if it's just like
her avoiding it and she's like, I'm not having Venita over here. I don't know. We need to see it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But at that party, Caleb is complaining to Naomi of all people about Catherine. She's like, she's been gaslighting me. I'm like, dude, you're telling Naomi?
Well, I mean, I guess you really don't want to get back together with Catherine because that's the one person you wouldn't be confiding in about your problems in your relationship with Catherine. So like, I feel like you're like solidifying that you're unaligning yourself with Catherine and trying to create your own, because I think he wants to stay on the show. So I think he's trying to that would make sense to go to Naomi because clearly there's an issue there. And then
I think they get back together though.
Do they?
Yeah, because they only broke up officially kind of recently.
Oh yeah. Cause yeah. I think I did see some articles about that.
So I guess they're going to get back together, but that is a move. But Catherine and drama go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got through it. I was very nervous for this recap because I know things now.
Oh,
but we did it. Okay, guys. Thank you for joining.
Well, thank you for having me. Southern Charm is like the closest thing I have to Summer House, so,
right?
Which is my favorite. It used to be Vanderpump Rules, but
I have high hopes for next season. This coming season of Vanderpump Rules, because we've got divorces and Lala with Rand and like that kind of stuff. So we'll see how that shakes out.
Yeah.
So yeah, anytime you want to recap Southern Charm, you just let me know.
Okay.
All right, guys. Follow Piaget on TikTok and Instagram at PiagetV, and follow me at She Speaks Bravo, and like, subscribe, comment, rate, review, all the things. And I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.